Do you know what is wild? That two people can have the same qualifications, the same number of years experience, but one seems to be getting all the opportunities, all of the contracts, all of the clients, all of the recognition, while the other one struggles to make a dent. If you can guess what the difference between these two people are, what would it be? If your guess is personal branding, then you are spot on. And if you are living in the Caribbean, I'm going to explain to you why your personal brand matters so much more than somebody who may be living in New York City or London, and exactly what you need to do to boost your role. Hi again, ladies. I am Jamila Bannister, your personal branding and visibility strategist who works with career-driven women who want to position themselves as industry authorities and leaders so they can secure premium paying opportunities. And in this video, I'm going to explain what personal branding is and why it matters so much, especially if you are living in the Caribbean. So let's start at the beginning. What exactly is personal branding? And I'm going to explain it by giving you the simplest definition that I've come across. And it is, personal branding is what people say when you are not in the room. That's it. It's your reputation, but it's more than that. It's the impression you create. It's the words people use to describe you. It's the first thought that comes to people's minds when they hear your name. Now, a lot of people hear the term personal branding and they become very dismissive and they assume it's for influencers and they say, oh, I don't need that. I don't want to be an influencer. But the truth is, whether we know it or not, all of us have a personal brand. The real question is whether or not you are being intentional and deliberate about crafting your brand and using it to your advantage. Every time you walk into a room, whether it's a boardroom, a networking event, a client meeting, people are forming an impression of you in their mind. The question is, are you shaping that impression or are you just leaving it to chance? And this is what personal branding is. It is the intentional act of deciding that you want to be known and consistently showing up that way. It was actually Jeff Bezos, yes, Amazon's Jeff Bezos, that said, your personal brand is what people think of you when you are not in the room. And he wasn't talking about logos or color palettes. Jeff was actually speaking about trust. And if you are here to use your personal brand to help you grow a business, we all know that the currency of business is trust. So your personal brand is your reputation, plus your visibility, plus the consistent story that you always tell about yourself. So now that we know what personal branding is, let's break it down into 5 core components so you know exactly what it looks like. The first component is clarity. You should be able to explain who you are, what you do, and what values drive the way you work. If you can't explain your value in one sentence, neither can the people who are trying to work with you or refer you. The second is credibility. This is your track record, the things you've done, the work you've completed. So personal branding doesn't create a reputation that doesn't exist. It simply amplifies the one that you already have. So you need substance to back up the story that you are telling. Component number 3 is consistency. Now, this is a big one and a lot of people tend to fall down here. But consistency happens at 2 levels. It happens at the frequency level. That is how often people see you and how often you show up in the space that you are in. And it also happens at the tonal and messaging level. Are you the same person online as you are offline? Are you the same person across platforms? Consistency is so key when it comes to building relationships with your audience and ensuring that your personal brand is represented accurately every time. And the fourth, visibility. Now, you can be the most qualified person in the room, but if nobody knows you, if nobody knows what you do, then you might as well not be. When it comes to personal branding, visibility is showing up in the right spaces at the right time and speaking to the most aligned audience. And number 5 is authenticity, and this is a non-negotiable. Personal branding is not about creating a persona. It is about bringing your most authentic self to the surface and doing that in a way that truly emotionally connects you with your audience. So your personal brand has 5 core pillars: clarity, credibility, consistency, visibility, and authenticity. Now let's talk about why having a personal brand matters so much more for us here in the Caribbean. And this is where you're going to want to make some notes because these are game changers. Now, personal branding matters everywhere, but in the Caribbean, our markets are different, our landscape is different, our stakes are different and our dynamics are different. And let me explain to you what I mean. Now, whether you are in Trinidad and Tobago, you're in Barbados, you're in Guyana, you're in Jamaica, we operate in small, interconnected markets. I mean, we are CARICOM. And your industry on average has, what, a few hundred people? I mean, you tend to know most of the people in your industry. And that means reputation travels fast. So if you do something that is great, well done, people are going to know about it. And if you do something that is not well done, that is also going to be known in your industry. In small markets, your personal brand acts like a megaphone. So the question is, are you leveraging yours to amplify your reputation and the things you can do well? And reason number 2 is that we are chronically underrepresented on global stages. Now, if you are a Caribbean professional navigating the global professional world, you know that the global professional stage really was not built with us in mind. For example, when you check platforms like LinkedIn or even YouTube, they make it so difficult for people in this region to get verified or to get access to features first. And features like the LinkedIn Top Voice are dominated by people from the US, UK, and Europe. And it's not because we aren't doing good work. In fact, we are doing excellent work. We could compete with the best of them, but we are just not seen. Therefore, our personal brand actually gives us an opportunity to carve out a niche and to make some waves for ourselves on the global stage. So this lack of representation is a massive opportunity if you think about it, because there's space for voices like ours to show up. We'll be considered different. Our perspectives are unique. Our positioning is unlike other people on these platforms. And because there are so few of us, when we show up, we certainly cause some ripples. So there's opportunity for us to talk about things from the Caribbean perspective. And this is something that we should definitely not sleep on. Even you could be the person that fills the gap in your industry. Now, number 3 is something that we are known for, and this is very much the who you know culture and who could give you a link up. Now, let's be honest, in the Caribbean, relationships, they matter. We all know that opportunities come through people who you know or referral, and I'm not talking about corruption or nepotism here. It's just the way it is. I mean, this actually happens all over the world, but because we are such a small market, it feels a lot more amplified. The distance between you and maybe a senior public official is not that far. Now, traditional advice says network and put yourself out there, which is very important because these are all things I advocate for. But when you add a personal brand on top of that, when you add a relationship on top of that, that puts you in a whole new category. It's a very different experience when somebody meets you at an event or at a networking event and they have already been introduced to you because you have been showing up in your brand, visible, and letting people know exactly who you are and what you can do. Without a personal brand, you are just someone that people may kind of remember. It's like, yeah, I think that person's face looks familiar. But with a brand, you are the attorney who takes patent law cases, or you are the marketing strategist who works with nutritionists and fitness professionals, or you are the finance professional who totally understands the regional landscape. So you see the difference from generic to very specific? So now that we understand why personal branding matters in the Caribbean so much, let's talk about some misconceptions that people have around personal branding that is probably keeping them from building a strong one themselves. Myth number 1 is that personal branding is boastful and it's very inappropriate. Now, typically in our culture, speaking about yourself a lot could be considered overwhelming and very, as I say, boasty. But there's a big difference between being arrogant and being clear about what you can do and how you can help someone. While I value humility, and I think it's one of the most important qualities someone can have, when you confuse humility for being invisible or being quiet, this is where you lose out on opportunities. So personal branding is not at all boasty, but it is the thing that will give you the opportunity to connect with people who truly need your help. Myth number 2 is personal branding is only for entrepreneurs, which could not be further from the truth. If you are an executive or if you're somebody who's looking for a new opportunity, if you run a non-for-profit and you're looking to attract sponsors, having a strong personal brand always puts you at the head of the pack because people see you first. Personal branding is for anyone who operates in a competitive market and they're looking for a unique and simple way to stand out. Myth number 3 is that I need to be on every platform. Now, I know this is something that people have felt pressure with over the years. Even when I started, I felt the pressure to be everywhere. And the good news is that you do not have to be everywhere. You're not required to be on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Instagram. And every other day they're coming up with a new platform, Threads, Substack. You just need to pick one and focus. In fact, pick the one where your most aligned audience is. So if you are an artistic person, pick Instagram. If you are looking to be a thought leader, pick YouTube, like I'm doing right now. If you're looking to connect with business people, pick LinkedIn. So you have to pick the platform that works for you and go all in on that platform. Pick one focus. You don't have to be everywhere. Myth number 4 is that personal branding is a one-time thing. So you go online, you update your profile once, and you say, okay, I'm good. People can see who I am and what I do. But the truth is that you as a person continue to evolve, and your brand will continue to evolve. And just like you want to leverage your brand to build relationship is something that needs to be fed. It is ongoing. So if you're looking to curate your personal brand with an audience, be more visible to that audience, be seen, be known for something in particular, you're going to have to put in the work. You're going to have to make the effort to curate the relationship. And you have to know that it's not a one-time thing. All right, so now that you understand what personal branding is, why it matters so much to us in the Caribbean, and some myths that you probably are believing that are holding you back, let's talk about how you can actually start doing it. So I'm not going to just feed you all this information, inspire you, and leave you hanging. Here are a couple ways to get some quick wins with your personal brand. So the first thing you want to do is you want to define your positioning statement. This is your statement that lets people know who you are, who you help, and exactly how you bring value to the table. So for example, your positioning statement can say, I help Caribbean businesses build stronger client relationships through strategic communications and brand strategy. Your positioning statement is your foundation because everything else flows from that. Step number 2 is you want to audit your digital presence. So I want you to go Google yourself. In fact, why don't you enter your name into ChatGPT or Claude.ai and see what the search engines and the LLMs are telling you about yourself. Check to see, is it accurate? Is it current? Is it depicting you in the way that you would like to be depicted? Or is your name not showing up at all? Whatever the results, this is a signal for you. It will either tell you you're doing a great job, an okay job, or you have a lot of work to do. And step 3, choose one platform. So you already busted the myth about showing up everywhere. Now I want you to choose the platform that makes the most sense for you. And that's it. Those are your very doable steps to start. So personal branding is not a luxury, especially since the advent of COVID-19, where the world has gone remote and Caribbean professionals are being hired for remote jobs all the time. Your reputation, your visibility, your story, those are the things that are going to make the difference between you and the next person. You have expertise that is valuable, you have a perspective that is unique, and you have a story that is worth telling. The question is, are you telling it? And if the answer is no, I will challenge you to get started. If you are a Caribbean professional and you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate it so much if you could give it a like and consider subscribing. It genuinely helps this channel grow and puts this content in front of more Caribbean professionals who need this exact advice. I would love to hear from you, so drop in the comments one word that you think is associated with your personal brand, or at least what your Google search or your ChatGPT search or your Claude AI search reveal about you. And if you want to keep learning more about how you can build a personal brand that pays you, a personal brand that positions you for opportunity, then check out my next video that tells you how to create visibility that converts.